All right, let's now move to how to get into South Africa. There's been mass confusion for visitors over COVID-19 vaccination certificates. Last week there was chaos at some of our airports. Travellers stranded in long queues while their certificates were checked and sometimes rejected. Well, for some clarity, Ramphelane Morewane, Acting Deputy Director General for Primary Healthcare at the Health Department, joins us on the line from Pretoria. Thank you so much for your time. Let's just go back to the incident and unpack that so we get a really clear understanding of where the problem came from. The reports I've read suggest that it was just visitors from Namibia flying into South Africa producing this white card, which is the CDC COVID-19 vaccination card. Am I correct, or were other countries involved as well?
Good evening, and good evening to the viewers of eNCA at home. Let's just put record straight. The story is that there were travelers from various countries that arrived at the port of entry, particularly Oliver Tambo, who are Tambo International, and they produced cards. Now, our legislation that was published spoke about or speaks about the vaccination certificate. Now, at the time, we did not know, that different countries would call proof of vaccination many names, like vaccination cards. Because in our case, a vaccination card is the card that you get at a point of vaccination, signed by a professional that has vaccinated you. So when the officials at the port of entry, in a simple, genuine manner of implementing the law, they then thought it is only people that produce vaccination certificates that will be allowed in. That's what led to that confusion. But now that that confusion is over, was addressed, same day, I personally, together with the chief director responsible for Port Health, went to the airport that afternoon, late afternoon, early evening. We were there until 10 o'clock. All the airlines that landed at the time, there was no problem because we had been able to address the issue.
All right.
So as of today,
let me jump in.
We haven't received any further complaints.
That's good news. Let me just jump in. I'm trying to get to the heart of the problem. Was it just visitors from Namibia or other countries? And if so, which countries were problems?
Look, I'm not going to give you, for an example, people from United Nations, people in the United States, various other countries came through. So it was not just one. Because, if people were coming from Namibia, and your colleague on Saturday said to me there were hundreds and thousands, there could have been hundreds and thousands of travelers from Namibia.
You know what I'm trying to do? So I'm just trying to get real clarity so that people know exactly what is acceptable and what isn't. So my understanding is that it was mostly just people from Namibia. You're saying that's not the case? It was from people all over the world who had problems?
No, not all over. But I'm saying it was not just from Namibia, right? But here is the problem. I think let's deal with the problem. The problem was us expecting people to come with vaccination certificates and people producing vaccination cards.
Yeah, those white cards,
that has since been cleared.
Were those white CDC cards the main problem?
Look, it could have been white, could have been anything, but what we wanted to do was, one, it had to be a card. For us, it was supposed to be a vaccination certificate, but they produced a card. So we had then agreed. Because, you see, I want us to avoid harping on it because it has happened and we've corrected it and we issued the statement. So it was the card that was not similar to our vaccination certificate. So that is where the problem was. You see, when you go to a country, you subject yourself to the rules of that country. If they want a card of this nature, that's what we subject ourselves to.
I hear you. Just explain to me, if someone is arriving in South Africa, is it important that their card has a QR code on it, whether it's digital or paper, you don't mind, as long as it's got a QR code, am I correct?
Yeah, it must have QR code. It must be, what we're saying is it must be very verifiable. And the details on the card must match the details in the passport. So it must have QR code. when you come in the country.
All right. Explain to me, how do you verify it? Do you verify it only through scanning the QR code? How do you verify it?
As you can imagine, a QR code is an electronic system. It would require an electronic system to scan it and make sure that the details match those. So that's the only way you can easily verify through a QR code. I mean, QR code, obviously, with naked eyes, you can't do that.
Sure.
So obviously, you require verification with a gadget that's specified for that. And then as soon as that has been verified, you know the person's name matches that one in the passport, this Ramphelane Morewane, then you can let them in.
All right, so basically what you're telling us is it's very simple. You can have a card, but it still needs a QR code, or you can have an electronic digital certificate that also just has to have a QR code, and then you're good to go. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right, lovely. Thank you very much for clearing that up. We do appreciate your time. That was Ramphelane Morewane, Acting Deputy Director General for Primary Healthcare at the National Health Department.